Hello, coders. I think I'm on time for once this week. Well, I did say on the tweets and on Instagram that I would be doing things in HTML world, but actually I've decided to change my mind. We're doing things in PHP land, in Symfony land in particular. So if I was to quickly show you what I'm babbling on about, if we go over to the How to Code Well local site, and if I was to just get to the contact page, so how to code, well, be howtocodewell.net when it's live, howtocodewell.local/contact. This is the contact page. If I was to refresh this page, the logs output a bunch of 3 deprecated warnings. And what I would like to do is upgrade the Symfony framework. We're currently on 5.3, and I want to upgrade it obviously to 5.4 and then move it up to 6 if possible. It's going to take a long time for that to happen. What I want to do today is just to investigate around these deprecated warnings. So I have created a let's move that over there. Let's put that on that tab. There we go. Okay, so what I've done is I've created this investigation piece. So investigate how to fix contact form deprecated warnings. So I have 3 warnings here, and the outcomes are there are 2, and that is to create a document explaining how to fix these warnings, and then create a delivery ticket or create delivery tickets to fix these warnings. So this is going to be an investigation piece. Technically, it's like a spike. So I want to know how to where these are set and how to change them to like this one, for instance, and the same with all the others. So I'm going to create a Confluence page, which is sort of here, Symfony deprecated warnings, where I'm going to list the warnings and how to fix them. Probably need to have more than one page, to be fair. We might have to do it like one by one. So I'll start by copying that, and then we'll start from the top and work our way down. I very much doubt we'll have all of this solved today. In fact, I've put this as a story points of 5, so it's quite a big chunk of work, and it's not specific to the contact page. So the other pages as well, when they refresh, they show these deprecated warnings, and of course there's warnings in the unit tests and all of that stuff too. But I just thought, I want to kick off this piece of work around Symfony, the Symfony upgrade. So let's go and get started. So what I'll do is I'll just paste that in here as the first one. So this is to do with the native session storage.native. We'll put that as the title, and we'll just clear that out. Sorry, beg your pardon. Let's get that out. Clear the formatting, set that as like a H2. Okay, so what we need to do is work out what's going on with this, where it's set, I suppose. So let's ask some questions. So where is this set? Let's ask a question of how to change, and also risks. Okay, so that's going to be our sort of flow. So how do we change it? How to fix, and then risks involved. So yeah, it's I can't spell involved. I can't spell full stop. Cool. Right. So if we can answer these questions, that would put us into a nice sort of position here. So where is this set? How to fix, and then risks involved. So where is this set? So the session storage.native. So it needs to be replaced with the session storage factory.native instead. And if we scroll through here, we can see that it's going to be removed. blah, 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 blah. And it's been set in the cache container, which isn't very helpful. So we're going to have to do a bit of Googling, I think. I suppose, first of all, we could just search the code base for this in the hopes that it's going to... I don't even have the IDE running. Sorry. Let's sort that out. PHP Storm, please. Let's load that up. There, yeah, we can grep the code for this and just see if there's anything that relates to that. Also, we can Google it and see what's coming up. Stack Overflow. Okay, so I have Symfony 5.3 and I get this deprecate warning. Yep. So I think it's caused by the token. I guess that's storage interface, get token, but I cannot find the solution to solve it. This is why I like Stack Overflow, because it kind of, some of these things. This is where I guess I'll be shortly once PHP Storm decides to load up. Yep. Let's get rid of all the code. Close all. And then what I can do is just search through the code base and see, yeah, okay, we've got stuff coming up. So we've got framework extension.php. So this is living in vendor Symfony framework bundle. So it might be the case that we can't actually do this without upgrading anything. So then it might be like we need to upgrade it in order to fix it. That could be the solution. Right, so that is, yeah, framework extension. So we can see that we've got the definition here. So I guess all of this will need to change. But we don't obviously have control over what's in vendor, the website vendor Symfony. That will be updated with the framework bundle, I guess. So then here we have it on config session. Again, that's in vendor too. So let's just quickly see what this fella is talking about here. So I think it's caused by the token storage get token, but I cannot find the solution to solve it. The code I use is like this. Okay, scroll down. I thought to edit the config file, but I can't determine where this change. Please see the following in config packages framework. So we've got, where's the change? Please see the following code. Oh, please see the following code, sorry, not the following change. Doesn't look like anything's there that relates to the session. Okay, have you considered following the suggestion in the deprecated warning message? Yes, however, I cannot find where the config you're right, okay. So framework.yaml session section should look like this. So you have your session, handler ID, cookie secure, cookie same site, and then I guess this is it, right? Storage factory ID, session storage factory ID. .native. So this is the default config you get with a new 5.3 project. You can leave the save path entry if you want. The storage value was introduced in 5.3. According to storage factory ID docs, the default value should be factory.native, which implies that if you don't actually need that, which implies you don't actually need the entry at all. Okay, right. However, bin console debug config framework session shows a different result if you leave it out. Not sure if that's an error or not. In any event, add the storage factory ID and the error should go away. Okay, so in my case, adding storage factory ID, removed 4 deprecation messages I was having with the profiler toolbar. Right, in mine, session factory native file gives this error. You have requested a non-existent service. Okay, and actually when I try and debug, so debug container, it says the session storage native service or alias has been removed or inlined, sorry, right. So there's a few things we can play with here. Let's run let's run this command here, because this is going to debug the container. And we can also see what we've got set. So let's do that as well. So this would be in framework.yaml. We're working on dev mode. So let's go to where would that live? That would be in config, that would be in packages, and that would be in dev, or it would be straight up in here. Let's have a little look. So we've got session handler ID, and we're at storage factory ID. So we don't have it set. Let's go and just double check what's in dev, because that might override it. We don't have that, so that's fine. Okay. So we don't have that being set. So I'm wondering if it's something that just gets changed when the framework bundle gets updated. I would imagine that's the case. In my case, adding this. So what I suppose I could do is compare the configuration of Symfony 5.4 to this and see if that is actually in there. That's probably a good shout, right? I'll leave this tab open because I'll use that as reference in the doc. In fact, just in case I lose it, let's put that in here for a second. Just throw some stuff to the page. According to, let's open that up as well. So Symfony bin container storage factory. Here we go. The ID used for, so there we go. It defaults to string factory native, which is what we're on, right? That's the whole problem. If we go back to the doc, that is the session storage.native, session.storage.native session. Ah, no, there's a factory involved. Okay. That's the I got it. Okay, right. Now I see. So obviously the default is the one we want. That would make 100% sense, right? But if I was to run this, we don't need the PHP bit at the front. I bet it's the old way of doing it. So let's come out of this and let's run that. Sorry. See what happens. Okay, so we have service ID session.storage.factory.service. That's the ID. Or alias has been removed or inline the container when the container was compiled. This service is private. It's aliases to the session storage factory. Session storage factory. Let's try and do this. Let's try and do this for the other one. So if I went back to this here. Session storage. It says session storage native alias or removed. Right. I guess because it's default and it's in 6.1. Let's change that to. Let's change that to 5.3. Do we have this in 5.3? Do we have this in 5? Oops. Sorry. Do we have this in 5.4? It would be that one. And it would be session, yep. Session storage.factory. That's the one it debugs to, defaults to. Factory native. And let's check the one in 5.3 a minute. Go to session. So I'm just trying to cover my back here. So session storage factory. That's also saying that it's defaulting to session storage factory native. So I'm wondering if there is anything that sets it then. Yeah. or whether it's a case of just putting that in, rebuilding the cache, and then running it. I suppose we can try that, right? Because it's going to be in 5.4, and it's gonna, yeah, it's not keeping the consisting the thing. In 5.3, the ID option was introduced. In 5.3, so in say 6.1, for instance, that is the same. So there's no risk in putting it there because it's the same in 6.1. So there's no, although, yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. This here, yeah, because it defaults it. So I would imagine it's something off of like 5.2. Well, it wasn't even added in 5.2. Yeah, so I don't know why. There must be something that is updating this when it compiles and updating it to the wrong thing. But what we can do is change it to this in the framework, and then rebuild the cache, and then refresh the page, and just see if it comes out. I suppose that's what we could try and do. So let's give that a whirl as our first attempt. So in here, what I need to do is not that. It is storage factory ID on session. Yeah, so what I'm going to try and do is change that to that, and then try and put that. Does it have to be a string? I think it does, right? I would imagine it needs to be a string. They've got quotes. Yes. Oh no. So it's not a string as such. It's a session. It's a service reference. I think it might actually work if I put quotes around it, but the example and the others don't. So let's leave it like that for a second. Right. Then what I'll add some comments in here. I'll do that later. What I'll do is I will clear the cache down. So let's do bin console cache clear, because this is obviously a caching thing. What I also need to do, because I haven't fixed the permissions yet, I need to join -r. Var cache and var the log. Right. Now this, if we can see here, this is where I started it. We can see that it's the one. It is the first one that comes out, and I also believe it pops out. It pops its ugly head again here as well. So it should kill both of these two. Right. So we'll tail the logs, and we'll see var log dev. Right. Let's hit this and see if that does anything or just kills it. Okay, so nothing's come through yet, and that has just fixed it, has it not? I can't see any deprecations. There's no deprecations here. I don't believe that. Let's just refresh. Of course, fixing one deprecation could fix another deprecation if that other deprecation was also calling something that was deprecated, of course. No, I believe that is clean. Let's have a little click about, because obviously it's not just this page that is affected by this. So let's go to, I may have just found an easy win. So yeah, nothing here. Let's get to, let's do something with sessions. That was probably wise. All right, so let's actually log in. So again, nothing there. What I should really do is just grep the, or put deprecations in its own log file. It'll be easier to monitor. Okay, so what have we got? Was there anything in here? I'm looking for PHP info. That's a root match. There's nothing up here. Nothing up there. Wow, I think we might be. I think that may have solved it. It looks like it's solving the other two as well, which is quite a good win. Let's do some stuff. So I am gonna grep this because this is just getting nuts to read. So let's just do tail -f var log dev. I'm going to grep it for deprecated. Sorry, pipe to grep. I need to do dep. Yeah, let's have a look. How do they actually start the thing? php.info user deprecated. I guess we can search for that string, right? User deprecated. All right, so this should now just output deprecations. So I should be able to jump through the site. So let's say, for instance, Linux Bash for Beginners, and this should, we'll get another tail going just in case we have missed anything. So let me just get back into the thing, and let's do a bash, and then let's do a tail -f var log dev, just in case, but user deprecated warning should be in here. Right, I'm going to enroll in the course. Keep looking. So normally, obviously, on my day-to-day, I would have multiple monitors, right? I'm just looking at this very small screen here. So that's why I'm having to jump forward and back. Okay, so we've enrolled in the course. Let's watch something. Still nothing coming out here. That's cool. All right. Good. Let's go back to my account. Still nothing coming through. Okay, let's go. So I've just enrolled in this course, so let's go back to it. I can't believe I've stumbled upon that one fix that seems to have solved the deprecations for the other things. That seems a little bit I think I need to go and try the lottery. Yeah. Okay. So nothing going on here. Yes, they are shown in the toolbar. Yes, but I don't want to just jump into the toolbar every time I click on a page. You know, having something output here is very useful. Because then I would have to click on the page and then click on here and, you know, see all the things. So yeah, this is just a quicker feedback loop. I mean, like I said earlier, normally what I would do is, instead of just piping it like this, I just have a deprecations log file that just the monologue would just channel to. So yeah, this is looking good. Let's do a log out and log back in. There was some deprecations I did notice when I cleared the cache, but that's a completely different ticket, or should be. Okay, so I've just logged out. Let's log back in. Of course, I could use other tools as well, like Sentry to... there's something here. User deprecated. Woo, found it. I found it. Something's gone wrong. Get user ID. Okay. I already know about this from. This is already been. This is already documented. So it should be. It should be documented. Let me just double check. If I was to search for. If I was to search for that. Deprecated notice. Yeah. Yeah. So that's been. There's already a task in there for me to sort out. So that's fine. That's all right. That's fine. Let's make a little bit of room there, just in case. Okay, everything else looks fairly straightforward. Right, I just want to double check if I've logged in again. Yes, that's the course I enrolled in previously. Okay, so I think that's I mean that's pretty much a manual regression on the whole login, log out, enrolling on courses and things. So there we go. Yes, but there is an orange color if they exist. Yeah, I suppose they do. The Chorn looked like a typo. I don't think. I mean, we're probably gonna. It was here, right? The Chorn. Chorn-R. So recursively. Data dot data. Var and log. That looks okay. Right, so I think that's cool. So in terms of documenting this, I mean, I'm now in the mind of, do I need to document this because that's all fixed? I suppose I should. Good practice and everything. All right, so session. Okay, so where is this set? This is set in the framework.yaml, and we can give an example there. So, boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's just get rid of all the, well, we can keep those on, that's fine. And I will put in shoot, have I just gone and removed that? No. We'll put in a here, there we go. Okay, so and we'll put this link in as well. The session underscore factory underscore ID. In fact, it's not that, is it? It's not that. It's I will add that link, but it's actually, let's take it to the docs. And this is in 5.3 session. Yeah. Let's use that one because that's, you know, that is the docs. Is set in the like so. Okay, cool. So I'm going to change that to how to solve. In fact, I'm going to do that. Oops. Okay, so yeah. update the framework .yaml and set the storage factory ID to, and then grab that this here to and we'll put in an example. Now you might be wondering, why on earth are you doing this, Pete? This is just like work for work's sake, right? Well, I want to document the process of it, and also I want to do this as an investigation piece because I want to investigate the other deprecations, and then what I would like to do is have a piece of work where I just go through the investigations, the solutions, and then see if there is like a single branch that I can hit them all in rather than trickle it in. So the risks and some of these are pretty, you know, session stuff. You don't want to, you want to tread a bit light with these and do a bit of testing. So what's the risks involved? So I haven't ran the unit tests yet, which we probably should do with this change. And we probably need to run the database, the integration tests as well. We should. In fact, we should do a full regression. Yeah, so we should do the whole works. So the risks is obviously like it's a session-based change. And let's put in full regression is needed. Right. Okay. So we will we'll publish that, and then we'll grab you, and then we'll go over to here, and I'll just add a comment here that just says these these four warnings are solved by setting the session factory ID as mentioned in Boom. Yeah, I think that's good. So then next time when I get to this, I can actually, you know, I can actually go through and go, oh yeah, that's how you fix it, that's how you do it. All right, so that's good. What we'll do then is put this into in progress. There is another deprecation that I did see quickly whilst we were playing, and that was around when I cleared the cache. I had a look on the log and I could see that there was something there that wasn't quite right. Okay, I'm being asked some questions, so let's go. It doesn't need to be a dot. It doesn't need to be a colon, Jacko. It could be a dot. They do the same thing. So, for example, this is talking about Chorn stuff. So, I did this to var log and var cache, right? So I did that. So if I went to ls-al of var cache, well, of just var to be fair, then yeah, they are set. So I'll give you an example. If I was to do a chorn -r, it doesn't need to be in -r, whatever, of data, let's do root, root of, so that's the colon way of var cache. So that's set. I'm obviously logged into the container as root, so I can do this. So if we did an ls-al again of var, that's been set to root. But if I was to change this from a colon to a dot and did an ls, hang on a minute, whoa. I've always thought that dot. I've always thought a dot would do that, but it obviously isn't. But how did that happen before? Let's just run that a minute. That's strange. Hang on. Oh, because it was root before. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee today. What? Let's do that again. So right, we're going to set it to root on var cache, and then we'll do an ls of var so we can see it as cache. So we can see that cache is now owned by root and has a group of root. I want to change it to be the I want to change it to be the owner of data, and I'm going to do a dot, and then I'm going to do the group of data. So this is with the dot. So if I hit that and then do an ls, it's changed. So yeah, the dots and colons are all the same. I thought I was going mad then. Sorry. Okay, so what's the next question? What is a session about? Okay, wow. Okay, how long do I have? Okay, fine, we can answer that one. So a session holds data between requests. That's kind of like the overview of it. So if I was to set a session on page 1 and then go over to page 2, I can then access the data in the session of page 2, right? So for example, with Symfony, we're setting all sorts of things in the session as we log in. So you've got your session token, which is made up of well, if it was the user password token, for instance, that's what it's serialized as. And other data as well. So you might be going from one page to another, and you might be filling a form, and you might be, that form might be successful. And there's things in Symfony such as flash, never say it, flash messages that are the successful messages that you see, or error messages, and you can set those into the session. So you can then do like add flash, and then you could do I think it's get from the flash bag. Flash bag is essentially the messages in the session bag. There's also an interface as well that you can use for adding other things into the session. So yeah, it boils down to this: sessions are a way of storing data across requests. And when I say requests, I mean like from page 1 to page 2 and so forth. Yeah. So, and the way you would do it, this is something that I've done recently, the way you would do it if you were to do it across. So technically, well, by default, the session is stored as a file-based thing. So that's where it lives on disk by default if you're in the dev mode of Symfony. However, if you're like me and you want to have a website that runs on multiple servers, let's say, you need to have a consistent way of getting that session data. You can't have data that's stored on one server and not be stored on another server, because when you're dealing with things like, for instance, this is on Kubernetes, for instance, you can't really tell when someone is on one box on one request and then another box on another request. So when you get to the point where you're wanting to do some bit of scaling, that gives you some challenges. So one way to do that is to store your session, instead of storing it as a raw serialized thing to disk, you store it in a database. So you have a sessions database table, and that will have your session data that you're consistently keeping to pulling from, and then you would store in a session the ID of that reference to that record. I think I may have just blown that question into a huger question, but I hope that kind of helps. Sessions store data that can be retrieved across page requests. Okay. Symfony is a free and open source PHP web application framework and a set of reusable PHP component libraries. Yes, it is. Is it better than Laravel? In my opinion, it depends. It depends. So I'm a contractor. I do work with sort of enterprise level clients. We always use Symfony and other things. I've rarely worked on Laravel in the wild as a client-based thing. Why? I don't know. But Symfony seems to be... I find that this is personal opinion. It's different for everybody. So, you know, I don't want to shit on, excuse my French, I don't want to poo-poo on Laravel at all. Laravel is a lovely framework. I've used the micro framework Lumen before for creating nice little simple APIs. But Symfony seems to be following more the PSR way of doing things, so that it's more standardized. Enterprises like standards. And also, I personally find that Laravel is opinionated, very opinionated. And by that I mean it has a lot of it has a lot of syntax sugar, and that I find gets in the way of readability. Whereas Symfony seems to stick true to the way that PHP does things, right? So, for instance, with Laravel, there are ways to manipulate collections of things and arrays of things. And when I have been working on Symfony for like 3 months and I go to a Laravel application, it can get quite confusing. And I'm like, why can't you just do it like everyone else does it? And why do you have to do it in your own way and have your own spin on it? But that's, like I said, it's just me. It's just me. Laravel is a great little framework, great framework. It's quite an indie framework. It's quite a fun framework to play with. You can get things up and running very, very quickly. Symfony just seems to have more... Symfony seems to lean on standards a little bit more. That's all. Whether that's... I mean, that might not be a good thing. One could argue that blocks innovation, but like I said, I've never done a Laravel project in the client space. I've done, apart from Lumen, which was just a micro framework, but it's not really Laravel. It's like the smaller version of it. I haven't really done anything for clients, and the jobs in where I'm looking for jobs for client work, it's all Symfony. It's either Symfony, it's either Drupal, it's either Magento, or what was the one I saw the other day? Moving from old school Zend into Symfony. So yeah, there's not a lot in terms of the Laravel space, which is kind of why I haven't really been doing it, because obviously if there's no need for it where I'm based, it's going to be totally different for everybody and where they are. Some countries might prefer Laravel than others. Some cities may prefer it. But where I'm based, the jobs that I'm looking at, the legacy applications that I play with, they're all wanting to get to a version of Symfony, or migrate from an old version of Symfony, or move off of, say, Yi onto Symfony. And so that's where I've kind of lived. That's my niche, I guess. Am I certified AWS cloud practitioner? No, I am not. I was thinking about getting it, right? Because a lot of my clients deal with AWS. And so I was thinking of moving into the DevOpsy world more heavily than I am. But I find AWS can be quite confusing. They change things so rapidly. And so I was looking at the certification and I was like, is this actually going to last me? You know, is this going to last me? Or are they going to change everything every few years? Which I suppose if you were an AD, if you did the course, you would obviously have to keep yourself up to date. So what I would prefer to do, and I don't have any time to do it, but what I would prefer to do instead is to have a I can't say the word, take a course, a certified course in, say, PHP or even Symfony, because those things, they're kind of base level knowledge, and I do think that once you have those under your belt, you're more sought after for contract roles. Especially at sort of especially when you're more experienced, right? Because when you're more experienced, you're with a pool of other more experienced people, and so there is, you know, when they're looking at CVs, if one's got a certification and the other one doesn't, then they'll more than likely lean to the one that does, right? So it's all about how to improve yourself in the job market, I guess. Yeah, AWS services are constantly evolving, which means that you are constantly evolving as well, which is a good thing. It's certainly a good thing. Don't get me wrong. You know, you have to, right? You have to evolve. You can't stay stagnant in web development. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if I've got the capacity to keep up that fast. It would be amazing if I could have all the certifications in all the things. But I would be having to do a course every 3 months. I don't have the time. And it gets to a point where it's like experience starts to experience is actually more powerful than being certified, right? Because if you can say, oh, I've been certified for a year, right? I've just done my AWS course and I've done it for a year, compared to a candidate who's not been certified but has done AWS for 5 years. I mean, what would you go for? The one that's certified or the one that's actually done it in the wild for 5 years? So there's that kind of debate as well that you've got to have with yourself, you know, in terms of the value of these things. If I was hiring now, if I was a hiring manager and there was a candidate that had, let's just pick something else. So JavaScript. So let's say they were, they did a awesome course in JavaScript, and they did that for the first 6 months. They completed that course, and then you had another candidate that for a year has been working in the field but hasn't been certified. They don't have any course to back them up, but they do have URLs and they do have experience, and they can talk to you about their experiences in, say, deployment, or going back to AWS, you know, the JavaScript stuff, shall we say. I would pick the one with more experience, even if that's only a year and the certified is 6 months. I'd go, no, actually, that extra 6 months of being in the field is actually more valuable than, you know, having a course under your belt. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. Yes, I could integrate AWS services into the knowledge of Symfony, definitely, and that would really sort of narrow down my niche as to, you know, which kind of projects and clients that I go for. Because if I was specialized in those 2 areas, then that's all I would be looking for, right? But you know me, I like playing with other things. I like playing with React and CSS and other bits and pieces. So I think finding a niche is very important, but I also think that being able to expand your horizons and dabble around with things is very important too. And I think that if you do end up, I'm really poo-pooing and downplaying how important certifications are, and I shouldn't be, because they are really important in this industry, because you do get a load of cowboys who say that they can do the thing, but they don't know how to do the thing. And that's what certifications prove, that you can do the thing. Where was I going with this? The niche thing. Yeah, so So I think that if I had more than one certification, then I would probably be. It's all about time management. So what you choose, there's a trade-off in that. You have to go, okay, actually, I'm not going to do the other thing. I'm not going to be playing with React anymore because I'm training to be a Symfony certified developer and an AWS certified developer and engineer even. And I need to keep that ball rolling. So I'm going to be blinkered to React. I'm going to be blinkered to CSS because they don't interest me. But you know me, they do. So it's a time-based thing. Anyway, right. I am going to shove off because, it's getting on a bit. I think we've done an hour. I was going to have a look quickly. Let's do that first before I go. I was going to have a... So that's in progress. It's more of an investigation. So I suppose I can mark this one as done, right? So let's do done. There we go. Let's create a new ticket, though, specifically for the thing that I saw around the flushing of the cache. So are we still tailing this? Yes, we are. Right, so what I'm going to do is do a bin console, because I think there was another deprecation. When I cleared the cache, cache clear, I think I saw something pop in here. Yeah, here we go. Actually, there's that one. Are they the same? Actually, whoa. There's a few. Let's document these. So, Symfony Guard 5.3. That's Symfony. So Symfony Security Guard 5.3. Looks like that's a hasher password. That is password authenticator interface, and that is guard bridge authenticator. So there's those three, and then down here there looks to be something to do with that's the hasher. Again, that's hasher as well. Something to do with get session interface is deprecated, and then we've got, so there's a fair few. Symfony validator, allow empty string option, and that's happening a few times. All right, let's just put this all in a document because I do need to shoot off, but let me just I want to capture this. So we're going to create a new issue, and it's an investigation piece. So we'll investigate. Let's just grab that. Investigate how to fix cache clear deprecation warnings. Clear deprecation warnings, and we'll just like the other one. We will just list them. I think is probably the best way to do it. So let's start from the top. So it is that one. So apologies if this is very boring. Just watching me copy and paste stuff from the terminal over. Let's get rid of that. So let's do that. Is deprecate, use the new instead. Okay, cool. And then the next one is warning 2. I'll go back to here. So it looks like this is a different one, isn't it? Yeah, let's copy that one. And get rid of this. Yeah, in fact, I was thinking the other day, it would be nice to be certified on certain things because, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned through the years of being a contractor, just stuff that I've just picked up. and you end up finding little workarounds, little hacks, little things that people have mentioned, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you start looking into it, and it sort of changes the way that you work going forward, which is always nice, because you always get, sorry, I'm not in the and you're thinking there could be other things, you know, well, there surely will be other things that you just don't know. The thing is, web development is one of those things that is just ginormous, right? And because it's always changing, the stuff that you learnt in 1 year is going to be different the next. So yeah, woo. Like what was it the other day I discovered? I discovered something around Docker. It was around the profiles. So with Docker Compose, I don't know if anybody uses Docker Compose here, but with Docker Compose, I just like having everything on one line. That's why. You can do things like have an override file in Docker Compose, which is awesome. So if you put your Docker Compose file or Docker Compose override file in gitignore, you can then share your project to the team, and then they can override features in your Docker Compose file. So like, for instance, if they were on a different platform, perhaps they wanted to use a different mount point, perhaps they wanted to do access the services from different ports or whatever, they can override those things from the normal Docker Compose file in a Docker Compose override file. But the thing that I discovered last month was profiles in Docker Compose. So with Docker, I'll bring this up in a minute. Let me just finish this off. But with Docker Compose, you can do some really crazy things compared to when I've just totally lost what I'm doing. There we go. Compared to when I first used it, right? And Docker is something that I've taught myself. That's the same deal. Docker Compose is something that I've said. Docker is something I've taught myself, because obviously it was out after I finished university, and it's just something that I wanted to learn. And then I discovered that the clients that I now have all use it, right? Because it's now become the go-to tool of choice for containerization. I mean, when I started in contracting, containerization wasn't even a thing. That's how rapid that'll do. That's how rapid change has been, right? The whole way of working has just completely flipped on its head. No longer are we using LAMP and WAMP and MAMP. We're using things like containerization, and it's always like, you know, you've got a container for say a session interface. This is the same deal. It's always the same thing, right? It's always like you're trying to create an image that replicates production, and then you're allowing your dev engineers to sort of mimic that in I'm not doing a very good job at this. Yeah, you're allowing your dev engineers to basically have a copy of what could be on production locally, which is something that you didn't really have before. Not easily, because everybody had their own little workarounds and hacks. And replicating a problem locally that was only on environment specific was actually quite a challenge. But now it's easier, because you can actually run the same image. Sure, you can inject different configurations and stuff, but anyway, going back to the profile is amazing for Docker Compose, and I will show you why in just a second. So they're the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 warnings. Okay, so the outcomes are to create a document that explains how to fix the warnings, and the risks involved. And I can't spell involved, so bear with me. Number 2 is to create delivery tickets, and I've just remembered we haven't created a delivery ticket for the other one. Create delivery tickets to fix the warnings. Yes, so I best check that, turn that back to be still in progress, because that we haven't done all the outcomes, have we? Right, let me just sort this out quickly. It's on local, it's on staging 2. It's assigned to me. I'm going to give this 5 again, and we're going to put the labels to PHP, and I'll do it in this sprint, and that's all good. We'll create that, and also we'll change we'll view that issue in a new tab, and we'll change the epic to be Symfony upgrade preparations. Cool. Okay, and back to the other one. This one here, we haven't done it. It needs to go into in progress still, because we need to create the delivery ticket, which I will do after the stream, because I want to talk about Docker Compose profiles. So Docker Compose profiles. Here we go. So using profiles with Docker Compose. It means that you can group your services in specific things. So, like for instance, they have here a grouping of front end, and you can run that. Do they have an example of how to run it through environment variables? Yeah. So you can do compose profile. Can't really see it very well. Compose profile equals debug, and then you do Docker Compose up, right? Or you do Docker Compose -- profile debug up. And this will only spin up the services that are within the group that you want. So where this is actually really powerful is, let's say for instance you have a group of services that are just for debugging or just for testing, or profiling, or what have you. You can say, oh, I just want these services up and running now, and then you can tear them down. So you can have in your compose file, you can group your services by in your Docker Compose file, you can have your profiles, and you can have more than one of them. It's an array, so you can have, it's a profile of this and this and this, and it does clever things as well when you're saying, depending on various stuff as well, it'll spin those up. So for example, here I'm on debug, I'm on a debug, but it depends on DB, and that's on profiles dev, so it'll work all that magic out as well. It's very, very intelligent. It's great. Like, yeah, I mean, it helps to silo more the containers, and say like this container is specifically for this particular profile, which is very, very helpful. And none of this existed when I started learning Docker Compose. The only reason why I discovered this is because I noticed someone doing it, and I was just like, whilst we were doing some peer programming, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I did my own research and looked into it, and it blew me away. And it's just an example of how things are evolving and changing all the time, which is just wicked. Anyway, right, I really do need to go. Martin's talking about VMs, virtual machines, playing with core code in different ways without changing the original. Yeah. So before Docker, it was all, spinning up a VM that had a quote unquote kind of copy of what was on test environment or production environment, but never really was, because everybody's environments were very different, and hacked together. Some were running on Windows, some were running on Linux, some were running on Mac and stuff. So you never really had a consistent starting point, which is what containers solve, and Docker images. Anyway, I need to dash. Thank you ever so much for watching, everybody. Happy coding, and I'll see you again very shortly on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.